Welcome to Best Wellness Interviews, where successful people share their attitudes on wellness and some strategies that they use in their life for their health and well-being. I'm Kristine Best, wellness strategist, and I'm your host. Today, our special guest is Sam Pepin. Now, I'd really like to thank you for giving your time today to share your wellness secrets with us.
Cool.
Welcome to
Thank
my
you.
show. Are you, are you,
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me.
are you in Canada? Is that where you are?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Born and raised and still living in Montreal, Quebec.
Cool. I believe that's a really nice part of the world.
It is. It is quite lovely. Four seasons, beautiful people, wonderful architects as well. A little bit European, of a flair for sure, which is very interesting to me.
Yeah, cool. So, Sam, let's start by you sharing a little about you and what you do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm 19 years old, born and raised in Montreal. I'm French Canadian. Always was a very distinguishable child. Was able to pretty much run through education. Was in high school by 9 years old. Graduated with a nutrition degree at 16 years old. And I always was a person that liked to redefine what's possible. And put a lot of weight on his shoulders to be as best as he could. And basically, I have developed multiple business development companies. I'm mainly known for what we call neural marketing, where we have basically developed a science that we call the Code 24 to reposition business ultimately and simulate what we call the Imingla of their audiences for them to do more of what they want, which is probably increase their bottom lines and serve more people and have more impact. Big athletes. I played all the way to provincial level as a soccer player. I am someone that loves arts lover for sure. Museum, music, arts in general, just painting is something I do on a weekly basis. Avid learner, just a big reader. Someone I like to accumulate wealth by knowledge. I truly think knowledge is power, and I try to just always be on the lookout on how I can be a better person, whether if it's business or any realms of life. And that's pretty much it. Basically, it's covering adulthood as we speak, and having my first house purchased last year, and just kind of like becoming this life as someone that lead well, fortunately, a family in the near future, which is one of the big goals of mine. And that's pretty much it. That's who I am in a nutshell.
Oh, is that all? That's a pretty impressive bio, Sam. I mean, you're 19, you said, yeah?
Absolutely, 19 years old.
That's an amazing achievement for someone your age, and it's a very rare thing, right?
Thank you, thank you. Well, I think it is. I think it's less and less rare because the tools and devices that we have now with the technology is absolutely astonishing. So it is quite an unusual curve, but I believe there will be more and more people, as young as myself, that is changing the world and hopefully making it a better place for all.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, you did say you did a nutrition degree. So,
Absolutely, absolutely.
where did that interest come from? And why did you do that?
Yeah, I was a high level athlete, like I just shared. So nutrition and training in general, having a healthy mind in a strong body always was something that was extremely intriguing to me. So I went there just to deepen my knowledge on nutritions and just the body in general, how everything functions, how I can sleep better through better nutritions, how I can be higher performance because of nutritions. So that was truly my interest. It was just how can I be a better athlete or better performing in any realms of life. So yeah, I'm still very interested by nutrition. But completing this degree was a blessing for me because I have way more knowledge on how to cook for myself very healthy meals and just overall be a healthier gentleman, which is very important for me.
No, that's awesome because a lot of people take their wellness for granted. They're well now. They think, I'm okay. I don't need to do anything about it. But that's not true. You actually, if you want to keep your wellness, you need to actually invest in knowing how to make that happen, right?
Totally agree. Totally agree. And that's what we see with any high performers. I don't know if you've ever seen the diets of some of the high level athletes, but some people spend millions on just recoverings and being on top of their game because it's that much importance. And even for everyday people, I think it is something that, like you said, we take for granted and is severely underrated in as a waltz because it is truly being healthy. Healthy is something that is well, it is. I think it's very very common, and that's why we just take it for granted and not value it until we lose it. And obviously, that's how we find out how important it was. But
Mm,
you're absolutely right. Health is something that we need more focus on and educate ourselves and our loved ones on as well. I think everybody can benefit from just having some
yeah.
great tips and insights on what's better for them.
Yeah. That's what I focus on is prevention because it's so much harder to claw your way back to wellness once you're unwell. So it's much, much better to stay there. You spend a lot less money staying there than having to pay doctors, hospitals, and not just that, but it's the quality of life that you would lose. So
Oh,
I'm impressed that you, at such a young age, took that to heart.
thank
So I just find it really hard to get my head around that you were so young when you started doing all this. How old were you when you did that nutrition degree?
Yeah, nutrition degree. So I was it was a 3 year degree that I completed in 2 years. So I was 14 to 16. Um, so yeah, I was like I said, I was and that comes from my mother actually. I was raised in a very, very healthy household where we eat, the typical 40% meat, 40% vegetable, and then 20% of carbohydrates. Kind of like the high performers slash even bodybuilder to a certain extent kind of diet. It was a non-negotiable for us to take care of our health, and not only how we feel, but also how we looked and how we portrayed ourselves. I think is very very important to be as sharp as possible, especially in such a competitive world. So I started to take care of my health since I was 6, 7. But really dialed in on it when I was, like I said, 14 to 16 was a big portion of getting over the I'm interested in it to I'm invested in my own health and in how I can optimize it.
Very good. We have some things in common. I was about 7 when I first uh, gained an interest in the human body.
Yeah.
And at 10, I healed myself from asthma. And around 13, I became very interested in posture. And around 14, 15, 16, I was very interested in nutrition. And so I bought a whole lot of stuff to, yeah, feed my curiosity and desire to learn. So um, I think it's paid both you and I off in good stead, don't you think?
Yeah,
You're well
absolutely.
now, you have no problems, like you've got lots of energy.
Absolutely. Lots of energy. I work out every single day for an hour in the morning, at least an hour to an hour and a half. So typically I will wake up about around 6, go to the gym, do some weight lift, do some cardio as well. And yeah, so afterwards, like I said, just it the work and have plenty of energy and clarity in the mind, which is very important for someone that do what I do at this level.
Well, to run several businesses, you need to be in tip-top shape,
Yeah, absolutely. And
mentally
that's
and
that's what
physically,
we
really. Men-
That's right. That's exactly right. That's why I said a healthy mind and a strong body. I think that both of these things are a key of life, and the reason why I say a key is they work together as a whole. I don't think you can be well if you don't have mental wellness, and I don't think you can be well if you don't have physical wellness. It's truly both working together
I agree.
as a team, if you will, that achieve so beautiful results. So very important.
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, Quality of life is what you want. And if quality of life is what you really, truly want, then you have to put the effort in to get it. You have to be
Good.
mindful of the things you put into your body. So, what sort of foods you said you cook for yourself, and that you were brought up with? meat, veg, and carbs. So
Yes.
what constitutes a meal now, typically?
Yeah, absolutely. So I still take those ratios as much as possible. So I have a girlfriend as well that cooks very well. We will typically have for breakfast. I'm a big fan of eggs. So I typically eat a very typical breakfast, about 4 to 5 eggs. I'll take some veggies in there. So typically it will be some peppers that I just cut cut freshly and just eat it right there. And then oatmeals is another go-to of mine in the morning, and then a protein shake as soon as I finish the training. So I have a pretty heavy breakfast. I just like it that way. I think it's more a personal preference. I try to aim for about at least 1,000 calories in the morning,
Mm.
just because I tend to eat my second meal, which we call dinner in French. Kind of like the second course later in the day because I'm so busy with everything that I have to do. Typical second course for me will be mainly something quite easy to cook. So, for example, I have those prepared meals that I like to buy. Typically, it will be, let's say, chicken with some pasta and some vegetables. But there's also always a big emphasis on protein. That's a non-negotiable in all my meals. I try to aim for at least 30 grams of protein. Um, and then in between those courses, most of the time I'll take some little snacks. I'd like some high protein bars that I just like to snack on. A lot of fruits. I'm a big fruits guy. So mangoes, strawberries, blueberries. Those are my favorite by far. Apples as well. Big apple. I think an apple is a day keeps the doctor away, as we say. And then as dinner, as my last meal, I always eat 3 meals a day. That's typically a lighter one because that's basically I typically work better in the morning and try to relax more at night to kind of have my clarity back in the morning. So I basically bring the ratio down from meats that are harder to process proceed for your body to about 25 to 30% of my plates, then more vegetable, and then the rest in carbohydrates. Once again, typically will be rice. Rice is by far my go-to. Sometimes I have other things like potatoes. But I'd say rice is probably in 70% of my meals. I'm a big rice fan. And then yeah, vegetable typically are salads or fresh vegetable, fresh or cooked vegetable. I'm not I'm someone very easy on food, so I eat whatever my girlfriend makes me. That's pretty much the golden rule.
Yeah.
But it will typically be peppers, carrots, salad. Like I said, we're big salad fans, so that's pretty much all I eat. I eat not a lot of things. I eat them consistently.
Yeah. Fantastic. It's a very much along the lines of my diet. So, yep, I
Yeah,
totally approve, of course.
absolutely.
So, you said that one of your non-negotiables is protein. So, what are some of your other non-negotiables, those things that you must include in your wellness routine?
Yeah. No, absolutely. So in my wellness routine, well, if we keep to food and beverages, water is my go-to. I drink, excuse me, nothing but water. Outside of the protein shake that has some milk in it, I eat water every single minute of my life. So I eat about I'd say 3 liters of water per day. That's pretty much
How
a
much,
standard
sorry?
for me. About 3 liters.
About three. Okay.
Yeah, about 3 liters. Yeah, 2 to 3 liters. And then outside of foods and beverage, sleeping is one of the most important things on my wellness routine. Try to sleep at least 7 hours. It's hard because I have a lot of things to do, but most of the time I'll try to go to bed at 11 and wake up at 6. That's
Mm.
typically the routine that I have. Outside of that, in my wellness routine, I like to take some time to cool down. So reading is something that I do every single day. And then just thing that I enjoy doing. So for me, I'm an avid investor, for example. So I might check the stock market for about 20 minutes just because I like to kind of like lay down and just be appreciative of the opportunity that I have. So I'll be journaling at night all the time. Just kind of like this couple of thoughts of how today was, either on a personal or business side. Obviously, I will do a list for the next day. So what I need to do, must do basically activities for the next day, meetings and so on and so forth. So those are pretty much the non-negotiable, is eating well, drinking well, sleeping well, and then having some cool down time so I can have my mental clarity the next day.
That sounds very sensible. That's a very, very healthy routine. And just by the by, the recommended amount of water intake for males is uh, up as high as 4 litre, well, 3.7 litres,
Yep.
and around 4 litres, up around there, and 3 litres for women. And most people do not drink that much water.
No, no, I think we have a lot of more of sweetened beverages, right? So you have obviously typical juices. You have a
Yeah,
lot of energy
awfully,
drinks.
awfully high in
Uh,
sugar.
Absolutely. That crazy high in sugars. And the big thing with this is that obviously you'll have a peak in insulins. That'll make your energy level just fluctuate in a way that might not be sensible for your day-to-day work. So that's
Yeah.
why I try to keep it as neutral as possible. That way I'm always on a high, and I don't have these crash downs of energies.
Mm.
If whether if I eat sugars or not, right? So it's very I always try to stay I try to not be stupid basically with food and beverage, and I try to keep it simple, keep it so I can just do it every single day and enjoy it. And
Yep.
yeah, that's pretty much my go-to.
What most people don't realize is that they can drink a sugary drink and they'll get a hit, and they might give them a little buzz for a moment, but suddenly their
Absolutely,
insulin kicks in and it brings the level down. And so then they have a
absolutely,
low, and they don't realize that they're actually overworking their body because, you know, the insulin's going up and down, up and down. That's overworking that organ and also your liver. So people don't realize, you know, giving your body food on a gradual level throughout the day, and having a lighter meal at night is good, because otherwise you go to bed and you feel full, you don't sleep well, and you don't digest it very well, you know. So
absolutely.
so your routine is actually pretty much, I would say, perfect.
Thank you.
um, and having water and drinking water predominantly is amazing, because most people don't. And you're you don't have any musculoskeletal problems, do you?
Oh, I know. I'm pretty in shape. Like I said, weightlifting and just overall wellness is very important to me. So I don't have any hiccups, either on the cardiovascular or simply on more either on
Physical?
skeletons issues.
Hmm.
So physical, yeah, I don't have any of those. So
Hmm.
I'm very blessed. I'm a very, very blessed gentleman. I always was someone very active as well. So those things basically it's like a snowball. Basically, the more you do it, the more it's part of your routine. The more you gain momentum on it, and the easier it is to actually be a healthy person. So I have the blessing to start very early, and also not having any issues from birth, basically making me an overall very very in shape person. I try to, like I said, in about 10,000 steps a day is always my goal. So I walk a lot. I will just by myself try to walk as much as possible. So if I can go somewhere by walking instead of taking my car, I will do so.
Hmm.
Even at the gym, like I said, always starting with about 15 minutes of cardio makes me, a couple of thousands of steps right there, which is very important. That's why I start my day that way.
Fantastic. See, a lot of people don't realize that musculoskeletal problems, I've, I've had a look at the stats from 1980s up until now, well, up until about 2022, and the number are increasing both in America and in Australia, where I am.
Okay.
Um, it'll be similar where you are, and in England, because I would think that that's because of technology and everything, like, motor cars and public transport, and people aren't walking very much. They're not actually using their
Absolutely.
bodies how they should be. And so they're doing a lot of sitting, and they're not actually doing much else, and they're not doing anything to counteract that, whereas you are. And I applaud you for that. So it's alarming, which is really why I want this to be high profile for to get the message out to people so that people start to do something, because it's costing our economies, and I mean the taxpayer, a lot of money, running hospitals and helping people that should have been prevented, whatever they have, right?
Absolutely.
A lot of these issues that people are suffering from were preventable at some point, but they've gotten so bad that now they're relying on hospitalisation or nursing care or operations or whatever, drugs and stuff, and it's all mostly preventable. And so
Absolutely.
this is why I have this desire to get out there what people like you are doing, and I'm talking about successful people, because um, people won't listen to Joe blogs. You know what I
Right.
mean? And if it's a successful person, they're more likely to listen what they do and also to follow what you do, which is
Absolutely.
why I've started these interviews to get the message out there. So
Yeah, that's lovely.
I really appreciate you being involved, because you are just well, an ideal perfect example of what people should do in their life, right?
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
there is one other aspect of wellness that I consider to be wellness, and that is doing things for others. Having a bigger than yourself project, because
Absolutely.
by helping other people makes you feel good, but you help others, and then those others help others. And so you pass it
Yes.
on, and it's, it passes, you're leaving a legacy kind of thing. So what do you tell me what you do? I'm sure there's something you do. I don't know, but yeah, share with us. I'd love to
Absolutely.
know.
I'm involved in a multitude of charities. One of them is a charity for widows and children's in Kenya's, trying to provide them with shelters and food and water. So we have a whole branch of my business in which we have basically a nonprofit branch of it that basically help these charities, excuse me, do even better and impact even more people. Outside of that, I also am a part of. I regularly give to charities where I go to business conventions. More than often, there will always be basically a charity involved within the projects, and there'll be sometimes some prizes to win and so on and so forth that you can purchase, and all the funds are raised for charity. So I'm someone that is I'd say higher than average awareness on how to help others and try to basically make my success a world success, which is truly a transcendence that comes from God. I'm a man of God. I'm a Christian by faith. And I truly believe in helping people on any levels, whether if it's monetary or simply time and resources, and a simple conversation sometimes can do well enough to put somebody on the track, back on track. But basically that's one thing that we do at Core Centrica and Sam Associated, which is my mother company of my organization, is find out ways that we can help the world through only monetary allocations that is spread towards helping the minorities and people in needs. That's one thing that we do every single day at Sam Associates. And then outside of that, just as more locally, I'm someone that is always there to raise money. For example, I raise money with one of our clients here in Montreal. We raised above $80,000 for an hospital called Cité de la Santé, which you can look up online. It's where I was born and also where my grandmother unfortunately died. So we raised some money there to make sure that their operations was running smoothly, and it was just a give back for how well they treated us. And yeah, that's those are things that I do on a regular basis.
And do you think that has a bearing on your wellness, on your personal wellness?
Absolutely, absolutely. Spiritual wellness is something that is extremely important, and doing good. We have an intrinsic sensation when we do good of feeling well, and I think that's what makes us so similar from each other. We're truly all the same, and that's something that I always try to push as a message. Where when we're similar, is that we are different, even though we're trying to always look for how different we are. Uh, and there's this intrinsic sentiment. It's a kind of like a warm and relaxing feeling called serotonin. That's the hormone that is produced when you do good, when you feel well about yourself. And so absolutely, I think it's a big part of my wellness, and why I'm so productive as well, and why I love what I do so much is by seeing the impact of just how much can it do for other people. And
Mm.
yeah, I truly think it's a central piece of who I am as a person, as a being.
Yeah, I think a lot of people ignore their spiritual side, and I think that that has a bearing on people's overall happiness. And like you, I am working on a project, a sustainability project in Uganda with two other businessmen. And we want to, well, we've got to set up a charity actually first. There's a lot of rigmarole in doing this. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, so we're doing that, and we're helping. We've raised a little bit of money for them to help them out now, but it's an organisation that goes into the community over there in Africa, and one of the guys has been there to see this is legitimate, and they go out in the community to help people that have got AIDS or disabilities or whatever it is, to help people's wellness, overall wellness. And so we want to set up a sustainability farm, and that farm will bring profits, fresh food, jobs, and then the profits will build a medical centre, orphanages, or accommodation, because a lot of people over there are dying from AIDS. And that's an
Mm,
educational thing, and we can help with that as well. So it's an awesome feeling to be doing something on that scale where you're not just helping one person,
absolutely.
you're helping a whole bunch of people. It's very rewarding. And I think people are missing out. Generally speaking, people are busy with their lives, and they don't think about this aspect of themselves. And I think it does have a big part to play in wellness, overall wellness. Because also, when you're thinking about doing all this other stuff for others, you're not thinking about your problems, and they shrink, they get smaller, they're not as big as you thought they were.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's all
Absolutely.
about perspective, do you think?
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree, and I think that when you compare yourself in a first world nation with pretty much anyone, you understand how blessed you are to be in such a beautiful country. And I think that once you're past the survival mode, when you're past basically getting the essential needs for you to be a successful person, I think the next most important thing is making others as successful as you are. And I think that's the real definition of success is how many people can I impact without positively and make them as great as they deserve to be as well, because they don't have obviously nearly as much access to what we have. And it's just fantastic that we have more and more people realizing it themselves to make the world a better place.
You're an awesome guy, Sam. I just have really enjoyed this interview with you, and you deserve every success that you've gotten, and I'm I'm honoured that you came onto my show. Thank you very much for your time today,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been lovely.
and thank you for dropping in to listen. Hope you've enjoyed Sam Pepin. I'll put his details up at the end of this video.